What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, in today's video, we're going to take a look at how the KS0 stacks up against the brand new KS0 Pro. All right, here we have it. In this box right here is the ICERIVER KS0 Pro. This unit just released within the last, I don't know, 2 weeks or so, and they just started shipping from ICERIVER. Now, over here, we have the original KS0. So turn this around here. Here we go. The original ICERIVER KS0. And this unit here is completely default. I haven't made any changes to it. I don't even have one of the 120mm fans on the front. And on the back, we have the black fan. So I guess that makes it like batch 2 and after. We're running the stock power supply. We didn't go ahead and upgrade the firmware or anything like this or overclock it. It is plain Jane, typical KS0. So this one right here does about 100 gigahash. I actually have another one as well that's right around there. It's about 99 to 100. And at the wall here, you can see it is at 68.9, 68.4 watts. It is advertised on ICERIVER's website to do about 65 watts, which at the end of the day is pretty much one of these light bulbs here. I mean, it's really absolutely nothing. All right, so the ICERIVER KS0 today, November 13th, not including electric, does about $1.92 per day in KASPA. And what does that yield? Well, the yield currently right now is just over 23 KASPA total. So I thought something fun to do. We're gonna go ahead and compare this guy to the KS0 Pro. We're gonna get this unboxed. But before we do, these things right here run crazy hot, like hot to the touch. So I thought we'd take this little guy here. This is an infrared thermometer, and just go ahead and get some temp ideas here, and then we'll test that out on this guy as well. So we'll go ahead and turn it on, and if we point it to the wall, 74.8. Let's take a look here. 103.5, 107.2, 101. So you can tell, like, this is Fahrenheit, guys. No joke. 104, 108.1. I think that's probably the hottest. So this is the way they come factory. Absolutely. And it definitely makes me a little uncomfortable with those temperatures. Anyways, we know how this guy performs. The hash rate, we know the watts, we know the physical temperature on the outside of this guy. Let's go ahead and get our KS0 Pro unboxed. Your typical ICERIVER packaging inside. Nothing too crazy. There she is. Now, it does come with this fancy smancy adapter here. Last time I got one of these, I did have to get something a little bit different. So this here, I was curious on, it looks like it has 120 watts is what the power supply supports here. These things always get so hot to me, it's crazy. All right, let's get this out of here. Come on. There we go. All right, we did it. We beat the box raid boss. All right, and here she is, the ICERIVER KS0 Pro. All right, we have our KS0 on the left and our KS0 Pro on the right. So you can see here, you know, our indicator lights as well as our button is on the front of them, but then you can see, check it out, our Ethernet port is on the front side of the unit now. Same thing with the USB port. Outside of that, I don't see any other big differences. Let's swing this guy around, KS0, and swing this one around. All right, so here's the back of the KS0. There's nothing. And on the back of the KS0 on this side, we do have our little, it looks like a Type-C port, as well as our power, same type of power port. Now, the one thing I missed out on mentioning, you do actually have an SD card slot on this one, but on the regular KS0, yeah, there's no SD card slot. I was trying to see maybe under the sticker. Nope, nothing. So it does have that going for it. So yeah, KS0 versus KS Pro. Let me go ahead and get this plugged in. All right, so while we wait for this thing to fully boot up and get started hashing, it does take, you know, 10, 15 minutes or whatever. Let's go ahead and take a look at this unit in more detail. So we're over on ICERIVER's website. We're going to go to shop and you can see right here, the only thing they're actually offering now is the KS0 Pro, which is the model that we have here. Now, prices the price is crazy right now. On ICERIVER's page, currently right now, it's $429. Now, this doesn't include shipping or like import tax or anything like that. So keep that in mind when you're shopping for these. But I love these devices because they're only, well, was 65 watts. Now it's 100 watts. So even at 100 watts, this is something you can set it, forget it, and just let it run till someday down the road, 5-10 years when this thing dies. Like for 100 watts, I feel like it's eating that electric cost is not a big deal, especially with the opportunity with KASPA, especially with where KASPA has been going recently. So on their website here, it is stating 200 gigahash plus or minus 10% and 100 watts plus or minus 10%. So we're going to test that out here in a minute. We're going to let our unit run for about an hour, and then we're going to circle back and see, you know, how this thing is performing. Now, when we go over to Mine the ASIC, we'll refresh it just to get the latest details. I've set the electric rate to 0 because, guys, your electric rates are all over the place. Like some of you guys that I talk to in the community are like 10% or 10 cents, and then others are like 40 cents. So it's like, I'm not going to bother really. What I'll say is with electric not included, and then allow you guys to adjust as needed. There's a little, if you're on their website, Mine the ASIC, I search for KS0, you can adjust in the upper right-hand corner your electric cost. But the original unit I have here does $1.92 in KASPA per day, which is about 23.3 KASPA currently, and that's slowly degrading more and more as time goes on. Now the KS0, however, is just under, it's almost about 50% more. When it comes down to the KASPA per day, it is 46.6 KASPA per day, but that's like $3.84 a day at their 200 gigahash and 100 watts. So definitely a lot more, which is awesome between the two of these here. And the nice thing is like the KS0 Pros, the prices are pretty low, 100%. So is it a good time to buy one of these? I mean, sure. I mean, as long as you have the expectation in your mind that you're only going to net $1, $3, $4 a day. Once you take out your electric, you know, it might be a little bit less. But electric costs are not that much. I mean, take a look here. If I go ahead and kick this up to like 10 cents, you're still making $1.76 a day with the KS0 or $3.60 with the KS0 Pro. If you kick it up another 5 cents, you're still doing pretty good. Even at like 20 cents, you're still doing good. So like, you're not going to see this out of like a graphics card or some of these little mini box miners that we've had in the past that now are paperweights. These at least make a few dollars per day, which is phenomenal. All right, so I know a lot of people set theirs up on KASPA-Pool, but for me, I always go back to Hero Miners. So on Hero Miners site here, go over, it's kaspa.herominers.com. And I have right now on here my 2 units, my the 103 and the 29 are just the IP address locally. And the 103 I've unplugged a few times as we've done some examples here. So we'll have to give it some time for that hash rate, especially the 1 hour to stabilize out. It's right around about 100 gigahash. But the KS0 Pro has started to show up there, which is awesome. So we're going to give it an hour because I really want to see what this looks like after an hour. And I also am very curious at the watts at the wall. And finally, the big one I want to know about is, does this thing heat up just as hot as the previous one, the KS0? So I'll see you back here in an hour. All right, guys, we have been up for about 2.5 hours actually now, a little bit longer than what I originally planned for, but that works out, more data. So on the actual ASIC itself, 5-minute hash rate, 211, 30-minute about 207. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to what is at the pool level, right? So let's go over to Hero Miners. We're going to go ahead and refresh. Don't forget, I have 3 now KS0s on here, one being the new KS0 Pro. And we'll scroll down here. And right now, the current hash rate it's reporting is 218. So it's awesome. And the 1 hour is 206, which is actually really, really nice. The 1 hour on the miner was 207. So that's actually really, really good, really close together. But we'll take it. We're actually getting more than what we originally expected. All right, we've been up for 2.5 hours now, and our watts is actually on our watt meter is just barely below 100, which is great. It's always good to see a little less watts. Now, here's my concern. This feels hotter than the KS0, which is crazy. So the KS0, we saw the hottest was about 108. We saw some 104s, 105s. Let's do that same test here. So here's our heat gun here. And let's do the top. 123, 127, 123, 124. That's insane, because look over here. I thought this was hot at like 106, but check this out. 123. That is nuts. How is this even safe? I'm going to be honest with you. Now, here's the power brick. Let's check that out. 122. Let's go to the exact same power brick right here. 97. So everything about the KS0 Pro is 20 degrees Fahrenheit hotter. And here, let me do this real quick. For some of you guys understand, let's put it on Celsius. That's 50 Celsius, guys. And you know, a lot of you guys use Celsius here. That's nuts. So, KS0, KS0 Pro definitely produces the hash rate and the watts as advertised. But I 100% am going to put a 120 millimeter fan on this unit. I'll actually link the one I'm going to use down below. It is the AC Infinity multi-fan, because I honestly don't feel comfortable running this at home at these types of temps, especially when I'm not around, like to catch something. So that's kind of my thoughts here. 200 gigahash, we'll take it, earning us some KASPA. Alrighty guys, that's gonna wrap things up for today. If you guys are interested in getting your hands on the ICERIVER KS0 Pro, $429, not too bad over on ICERIVER. Don't forget though, it doesn't cover tariffs, it doesn't cover shipping. Those are things that you guys are gonna have to keep in mind, that there's gonna be additional costs. So when you're price shopping, those are two super important things, especially when you're looking at vendors or looking at anything coming from the manufacturer. If you guys do get one of these, I'll put a link down below to that 120 millimeter fan. Please go over and consider getting one just to keep these things cool, because I do think the stock cooling is not efficient. Well, it's gonna wrap things up for today. When you guys wanna be notified about my next KASPA video, go ahead and click that bell, and I'll see you guys next time.